Have you ever experienced flight delays due to severe weather? Imagine it's Christmas morning and you're at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. As the first flakes of a winter storm begin to fall, a sense of unease begins to unfold. It's Christmas Day, a time for joy and cheer, but the weather has other plans. This isn't just any storm, it's a severe winter storm, the kind that brings not just snow, but chaos and disruption. Across the United States, the onset of this storm led to widespread flight cancellations and delays. Travel plans are overturned, holiday celebrations are put on hold, and a sense of uncertainty settles in. It's a tough pill to swallow, especially on a day that's meant to be filled with warmth and merriment. Now let's zoom in on Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, one of the busiest airports in the country. The hustle and bustle of the holiday season is in full swing, but as the storm intensifies, so does the worry. The airport, usually a hub of activity, is starting to feel the effects of the storm. Flights are cancelled, schedules are disrupted, and the ripple effects are felt far and wide. The airport, which prides itself on its efficiency, is now grappling with the challenges that Mother Nature has thrown its way. The impact is not just on the airport, but on the thousands of passengers who find themselves stranded, their travel plans in disarray. But this is just the beginning. As the storm gains momentum, its effects are felt across the nation. It's a stark reminder of how the weather, unpredictable and powerful, can throw even the best-laid plans into chaos. The storm was just beginning, and the effects were already being felt across the nation. As the day progressed, the storm intensified, causing further disruption. The weather, which had begun as a mere inconvenience, quickly escalated into a full-blown crisis. Denver International and Harry Reid International in Las Vegas bore the brunt of this unruly tempest. The snow fell in thick blankets, swathing the landscape in a frigid white cloak and forcing the airports into a standstill. Denver International, usually a bustling hub of activity, was transformed into a ghost town. The usual hum of engines and chatter of passengers was replaced by the howling of the wind and the crunch of snow underfoot. The storm was relentless, showing no signs of abatement as the day wore on. The airport staff, valiant though they were, could do little but watch as the snow accumulated on the runways, making takeoffs and landings an impossibility. Over in Las Vegas, Harry Reid International was dealing with its own share of weather-induced chaos. Flights were delayed, then cancelled, leaving passengers stranded and frustrated. The usually vibrant city, known for its bright lights and unending entertainment, was subdued under the storm's icy grip. Meanwhile, upstate in Buffalo, the situation was no less dire. Buffalo Niagara International Airport, under an onslaught of snowfall and blustery winds, made the difficult decision to close its doors until the storm subsided. The conditions were simply too rough, too dangerous for regular operations to continue. The safety of the passengers and staff was paramount, making the closure an unavoidable necessity. The storm had grown from a mere inconvenience to a menacing adversary, disrupting travel plans and bringing airports to a standstill. It was a testament to the power of nature, a reminder of our vulnerability in the face of its wrath. The storm had reached its peak, causing havoc in its wake. The storm slowly subsided, but the damage was done. The once bustling Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport was eerily calm, a stark contrast from its usual lively atmosphere. Left in its wake were the remnants of a storm that brought the transportation system to its knees. Travelers, anxious to return home after the holidays, were left stranded as flights were cancelled in droves. The total number of flights grounded on Christmas Eve alone was a staggering 3,487. A silent night indeed, as the storm's wrath echoed through the quiet airport terminals. But the chaos was not confined to the skies. Greyhound bus services, an integral part of the transportation network, were disrupted in Buffalo and Syracuse. The holiday spirit was dampened as families and friends, eager to reunite for the season's festivities, found their plans thwarted by the unforgiving weather. Even Amtrak, the backbone of American rail transport, was not spared. Service adjustments and cancellations were made, adding to the growing list of travel disruptions. passengers could only wait in anticipation, hoping for a swift resolution and a return to normalcy. Fortunately, as the final week of the year loomed, the weather began to show signs of improvement. The storm had run its course, and the skies were gradually clearing. But the aftermath was a stark reminder of the storm's devastating power. Though the storm had passed, the effects lingered on, disrupting travel plans across the country. The storm had left a lasting impact, a stark reminder of the power of nature, and a lesson for us all in resilience and preparedness. One cannot control the weather, but one can certainly prepare for it. As we've seen, severe weather can cause major disruptions in air travel. However, there are strategies that travelers can employ to mitigate the impact of these disruptions. Firstly, consider booking direct flights when possible. By eliminating layovers, you're also eliminating potential points of failure in your travel plan. Remember, every time you change planes, you're not only depending on your initial flight to be on time, but also the subsequent ones. Secondly, be selective about the airlines you choose to fly with. Some airlines have better on-time performance records than others. It's always a good idea to do a bit of research before booking your flight. Thirdly, try to avoid airports that are known for weather-related disruptions. For instance, if you're traveling during winter, it might be best to avoid airports that are prone to snowstorms. Fourthly, avoid traveling on peak days if you can. These are typically the days surrounding major holidays when airports are most crowded and flights are more likely to be overbooked. Lastly, consider investing in travel insurance. While it might seem like an unnecessary expense, it can provide a safety net in case your travel plans are disrupted due to severe weather or other unforeseen circumstances. Airlines are also taking steps to mitigate the impact of weather-related disruptions. Southwest Airlines, for example, is planning to modernize its scheduling system. This move is aimed at better managing resources during severe weather events and thus reducing the number of flight cancellations. To sum up, while we can't control the weather, we can take steps to minimize its impact on our travel plans. While we can't predict the weather, we can certainly plan our travels better to minimize disruptions. Severe weather can wreak havoc on our travel plans, but with proper planning and preparation, we can mitigate its effects. We've journeyed through the onset, peak, and aftermath of a storm that caused significant delays at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, a key hub for many travelers. Let's take a moment to revisit the journey. The storm's onset was marked by widespread flight cancellations and delays, with Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International being the second most affected. As the storm peaked, the effects intensified, causing travel disruptions not just in the air, but on the ground as well, impacting bus and train services. The aftermath of the storm was no less challenging, with airports like Buffalo Niagara International remaining closed for a couple of days due to rough conditions. But every storm, no matter how severe, eventually subsides, giving way to gradual improvements as the weather began to clear in the final week of the year. However, it's not enough to just weather the storm. We must also learn from it and prepare for future disruptions. Airlines, for instance, are modernizing their scheduling systems to prevent similar issues in the future. As travelers, we can take proactive steps such as booking direct flights, avoiding peak travel days, and considering travel insurance. And let's not forget the importance of staying informed. Keeping an eye on the weather forecast, especially during the winter season, can give us a heads up about potential travel disruptions. In conclusion, while we can't control the weather, we can control how we respond to it. By preparing for the unexpected, we can ensure our journeys are as smooth and stress-free as possible. Remember, the weather might be unpredictable, but your travel plans don't have to be. Stay safe and travel smart.